My girlfriend lied about being home, then tried to erase the photo that exposed her. So I walked away without a word. I'm 34, and for the past 2 years, I thought I knew my girlfriend Mia. We met in college, stayed together after graduation. On a Friday around 7:30 p.m., I called her on my way home. Just a normal check-in. Hey, I'm not free right now. Can we talk later? She said. Everything okay? Yeah, I'm just with family. I'll call you later, okay? No problem, I said. We hung up. I kept walking. At first, I told myself it was nothing. People get busy. But the tone stuck with me. Not annoyed. Not tired. More like she was trying to manage two conversations at once. Saturday night, I was on my couch scrolling through Instagram. One of Mia's close friends, Sophie, had posted a party photo to her story. The kind of group shot you see 1,000 times, string lights. I almost swiped past it. Then I saw the back corner of the room. Mia. She was standing shoulder to shoulder with a guy I knew well from old stories. Ethan, her ex. The one who, according to her, broke her heart 3 years ago. She once told me they hadn't spoken since. I sat up and pinched to zoom. No mistake. Mia's dress. Her hair is pulled back the way she does when she wants to dance without fuss. Ethan is looking right at the camera. His hand rested near her shoulder, casual like they'd picked up an old routine. I didn't react right away. I stared, trying to make it fit a harmless story. Maybe it was a random run-in. Maybe Sophie posted an old picture. Maybe I was reading too much into the background. Then, 10 minutes later, the story vanished. Gone from Sophie's account like it never existed. The timing told its own story. Either Sophie realized what she posted, or someone asked her to remove it, fast. My chest felt tight. I took a screenshot before it disappeared for good. My hands weren't steady, and I hated that about myself in that moment. I wanted to be calm, to be fair. The photo wouldn't sit still in my head. It kept rearranging small details until the simple explanation became hard to believe. I went back to our call from the night before. I'm with family. If she'd said she was out with friends, I'd have shrugged and called it a night. She chose family. She chose distance. Why? I set the phone down and let the room go quiet. We had 2 years of weekends and holidays behind us. We had plans stacked on plans. And yet, here was a single post that didn't match the version of us I carried around. I tried to be reasonable. People run into exes. People get invited by mutual friends. But the deleted story burned through all the reasonable paths. It wasn't just that she'd been there. It was that I wasn't supposed to know. I opened our message thread and typed, then erased. I didn't want to accuse or write something I'd regret. I told myself to wait and ask in person, to keep it simple and grounded, to give her space to explain without me stacking her words with my own anger. But the image kept flashing in my mind. The way they stood together, the easy body language, the hand near her shoulder. Not touching, but near. Near enough to say, we used to be us. I set an alarm for the morning and tried to sleep. I couldn't. Every small sound had me reaching for my phone. No text from Mia. No, back with family now, call you soon. Nothing. By midnight, I knew the problem wasn't just where she went. It was the choice to cover it with a simple lie. The kind that looks harmless because it's only a sentence long. I didn't text her. I didn't call. I kept the screenshot. I stared at the dark room and waited for morning, knowing that tomorrow I'd have to ask a question I never thought I'd need. Why was I the last to know? The next morning came and went, but I didn't hear from Mia. Not a text. Not a call. She always checked in, even on busy weekends. By noon, the silence spoke louder than any excuse she could have given. I opened my gallery again and stared at the screenshot. Her smile looked easy, natural. Ethan's hand rested close. Not touching but close enough to suggest they weren't strangers catching up. They were familiar. The kind of comfort that comes from old habits, not random encounters. I zoomed in again, though I already knew every pixel by heart. I hated how I was dissecting it, looking for clues like some kind of detective. That wasn't supposed to be my role in this relationship. I shouldn't have needed evidence to understand where I stood. Finally, I called her. Once. Twice. Straight to voicemail. My chest felt heavy. I tossed the phone onto the couch and tried to distract myself. Did the dishes, checked the mail, turned on the TV, but I couldn't shake the image. It wasn't just the photo. It was the timing, the lie, the deletion. An hour later, the phone buzzed. Her name lit up the screen. Hey, honey, she said, soft and sweet, like everything was normal. How are you? I forced my voice steady. Where were you last night? She hesitated just a second too long. Home. What? Really? You were home. There was a pause, the kind where the silence starts to feel like the truth. So I sent her the screenshot. For 5 seconds, she said nothing, just breathing. Then, who sent this to you? Her voice cracked, sharp and scared. Before I could answer, she hung up. I stared at the phone, confused and tired all at once. Not who sent it. I cannot explain. Just who sent it. Like the problem was exposure, not the lie itself. About an hour later, I saw headlights sweep across the window. My stomach tightened. A knock followed. I opened the door, and there she was. No makeup, hair tied back, eyes puffy and red. She stepped in without asking. I was going to tell you, she whispered. Tell me what, Mia? That Ethan reached out. 2 days ago. He said he wanted to apologize, clear the air. He invited me to a party, said it was a group thing. I didn't think it mattered. I almost laughed, not because it was funny, but because of how absurd it sounded out loud. Didn't think it mattered? You told me you were home with family. I didn't want to upset you, she said, her voice small. Upset me. I shook my head. You didn't just forget to mention it, Mia. You lied. You looked me in the eye and said you were home. She bit her lip, trying to hold herself together. Please, don't let this ruin us. It meant nothing. We just talked. I studied her face, the downcast eyes, the trembling hands. She looked sorry, sure. But sorry, after getting caught, isn't the same as being honest before getting caught. I said quietly, it's not about Ethan. It's about you choosing to hide it. Tears welled up. She reached for my hand, but I stepped back. Her voice wavered. It really didn't mean anything. I looked at her, the woman I thought I'd build a life with, and saw a stranger. Not because she cheated, but because she'd crossed a line she couldn't uncross. For 2 years, I trusted her completely. Now, one photo had rewritten all of that. I sank onto the couch, unsure what to say next. She stood there, waiting, searching for a version of me that wasn't already changing in front of her. And in that silence, something between us shifted, quietly, but permanently. I sat there, quiet, watching her stand in front of me like she was waiting for a verdict. She looked smaller somehow, not in size, but in certainty. Her eyes darted around the room like she was searching for a version of me that would still forgive her instantly, the way I always had before. But this time was different. I leaned back, letting the weight of the moment sink in. You know what hurts the most, Mia? I said softly. It's not that you went. It's that you lied. You looked me in the eye and made a choice. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came. Only the faint sound of her breath catching. In my head, old memories flashed, weekend trips, movie nights, random road stops for ice cream. The way she used to laugh before exams. The way she used to look at me was like I was home. Now that look was gone. I said, almost to myself, maybe it meant nothing to you. But to me, it meant everything. She broke down then. Quiet tears, not the dramatic kind. Just slow ones that come when you realize you've run out of excuses. I didn't move to comfort her. I couldn't. Something in me had cracked open, and no apology was big enough to fill it. That night, I didn't yell. I didn't throw things or demand answers. I just let the silence speak for me. Sometimes love doesn't end with a fight. It ends with a truth you can't unsee. Mia stayed. I didn't ask her to, but she refused to leave until I understood. I sat on the couch. She stood by the kitchen counter, wringing her hands. Finally, she said, I swear, nothing happened. We just talked. I looked up at her. You lied, Mia. That's what happened. Her voice cracked. I didn't tell you because I didn't want to hurt you. I knew you'd get upset. I rubbed my forehead. You don't lie to protect someone. You lie to protect yourself. The room fell quiet again. The hum of the fridge was the only sound. She took a seat beside me, her hands folded tightly. Ethan wanted closure. He said he regretted how things ended. He's engaged now, and he wanted to clear the air before his wedding. I turned to her slowly. He's engaged. She nodded, quick, as if that detail would somehow soften the blow. I exhaled and leaned forward, elbows on my knees. Then why meet him at a party, Mia? Why not grab a coffee? Why not tell me? She didn't answer. She didn't need to. The silence between us told its own story. It wasn't just about closure. It was about curiosity, nostalgia, that small part of her that still wanted to see him, to feel whatever they once had, even just for a moment, and to do it without me knowing. I stood up, pacing slowly across the room. I would have understood if you'd told me. Maybe I wouldn't have liked it, but I'd have respected your honesty. But now, I don't even know what's real anymore. Her voice was barely above a whisper. I made a mistake. I didn't think it through. I nodded, more to myself than her. You're right. You didn't. For a while, we just sat there, her eyes red, mine staring blankly at the wall. Every minute that passed made it harder to imagine us coming back from this. Finally, I said quietly, I need some time to think. She looked up. Please don't shut me out. I didn't answer. Because deep down, I already knew. This wasn't something time could fix. It wasn't just a bad choice. It was a broken trust. And once trust cracks, it doesn't matter how many times you say, I'm sorry. The words don't glue it back together. I stared at the floor for a long time before finally asking, he's engaged, and you still thought a party was the right place for closure? She didn't look up. It just happened. I didn't plan it like that. Why not tell me, Mia? I asked again, softer this time. You could have said, "Hey, Ethan reached out, wants to talk." You know I would have listened. She pressed her palms together. I was afraid. I thought you'd take it the wrong way. That's the problem, I said. You didn't even give me the chance. The words hung there. She didn't fight back, didn't try to explain further. And I realized, maybe there wasn't an explanation that made sense. I leaned against the wall, arms crossed. You wanted closure, maybe, but not with me knowing. You wanted to feel in control again, to see him and decide how it felt. That's not closure. That's curiosity. She blinked fast, as if trying to push away the sting of truth. You're making it sound worse than it was. No, I said quietly. I'm just describing it. Silence again. Heavy, uncomfortable, like a long pause in a conversation that can't be saved. Finally, I sighed. Go home, Mia. Her head snapped up. What? I need space. You need to think. We can't just sit here pretending this didn't happen. Her voice shook. Please, I don't want to leave like this. I'm not asking you to leave forever. I'm asking for honesty and time. I can't think clearly right now. She hesitated, then slowly nodded. Okay. When the door closed behind her, the apartment felt too quiet. For the first time, I noticed how much of her presence filled my space. Her sweater on the chair, her water bottle on the counter. All these tiny things that once made it feel like ours now felt misplaced. I sat down, staring at the screenshot again. The image that started it all. Her smile looked easy, like she wasn't carrying a secret. Maybe that's what hurt most. The lie was deliberate, but the comfort in her face looked real. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept replaying the same question. If she lied about this, what else could she hide? By morning, I had 10 missed calls and a string of messages. 3 voice notes I didn't open, and 1 long text. I didn't mean to hurt you. I panicked. When I saw Ethan, I felt confused. Not because I wanted him back, but because I realized how much I've changed. I wanted to tell you, but I didn't want you to see me differently. Please, don't give up on us. I read it twice. It sounded sincere, and yet, it didn't undo anything. For a brief second, I thought about how we started, how she used to call me her safe place. Maybe we both believed that too much. Maybe that's why this lie hit so deep. Later that evening, I met my best friend, Jake, at a diner. We slid into a booth, ordered coffee, and I told him everything. He listened quietly, then said, if she really respected you, she wouldn't have lied in the first place. You don't owe her trust. She broke it herself. I nodded slowly. His words weren't new, but hearing them from someone else made them feel final. Love without honesty isn't love, it's guesswork. You fill in the blanks until one day, you realize you've built something fragile. One small truth, and the whole thing collapses. That night, around 9, there was another knock on my door. When I opened it, Mia stood there again. No tears this time. No excuses ready on her lips. Just a quiet, tired face. I'll tell you everything, she said. No excuses. She stepped inside slowly, closing the door behind her. The air between us felt different, not charged with anger this time, just quiet and heavy, like both of us knew this might be the last real conversation we'd ever have. I nodded toward the couch. Go ahead. Mia sat down, hands clasped together. Ethan reached out a few times over the past month. I ignored him at first, but curiosity got the better of me. I wanted to hear what he had to say. I stayed standing, arms crossed. What did he want? She looked up. He said he was getting married soon, and he wanted to make peace. Said he regretted how things ended and wanted closure. She paused, eyes unfocused. I told myself it was harmless. Just one conversation. But when he invited me to the party, I said yes without thinking. I took a slow breath. You didn't forget to tell me, Mia. You chose not to. She nodded, voice breaking. I know. I told myself it was just a small thing, that it didn't matter. But when I saw him, it brought back old memories. Not love, not feelings, just a wave of nostalgia. I realized how much I'd changed, how much I'd grown. And then I felt guilty, because I knew hiding it from you wasn't fair. I walked over to the window, looking out at the city lights. If it was so harmless, why lie? Because I didn't want to deal with how it looked, she whispered. I didn't want you to think I still cared about him. I just didn't want to hurt you. I turned to face her. You didn't lie to protect me, Mia. You lied to protect yourself. She didn't argue. She just sat there, silent, eyes red but calm now, like she finally understood the weight of what she'd done. After a long pause, I said quietly, I loved you enough to trust you with everything. You loved me enough to lie. Her face crumpled. Please, don't leave me. We've been through so much. Don't let this be the thing that ends us. I shook my head slowly. It's not this moment that ended us. It's the choice you made before it. She stood, walked closer. I'm sorry. I'll do anything to fix this. I took a step back. You can't fix what you broke with words. Trust isn't something you glue back together. Her eyes filled again, but there was no more pleading. Just acceptance. So that's it. I nodded. You're not a bad person, Mia. but you're not the right person for me anymore. She looked around the room, at the mug she'd left on the counter, the blanket she always used, the photo of us at the fair, then back at me. I really did love you. I know, I said softly. But love without honesty doesn't last. I walked her to the door. She hesitated, then stepped forward and hugged me. One of those long, quiet hugs where both people know it's goodbye. When the door closed behind her, I stood still for a while. No anger, just quiet. And in that quiet, I realized how peaceful honesty feels, even when it hurts. Weeks passed. I didn't check her socials, didn't reach out. But one afternoon, scrolling through mutual friends, I saw a post. Ethan's engagement was off. Rumor was that his fiancée found messages between him and an old flame. I just shook my head. Life has a strange way of circling back. As for me, I learned something I wish I'd known sooner. When someone says, I didn't want to hurt you, what they really mean is, I didn't want to face the consequences. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't shouting or silence. It's walking away with your dignity intact, knowing the truth revealed more than their lies ever could. I appreciate you watching till the end. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content.